Great to have you joining us this morning. And today, when I walked to work, it was nice and snowy. And I don't know whether you're joining us from where you're really warm or whether it's snowy where you are too. But regardless, it's great to have you here. So today, kids, you know what I'd like to talk to you about? I'd like to talk to you about surprise. The idea of being surprised and how does that look and how does that work and how much fun it is when we're surprised. So kids, think about this. Yesterday, what was the best thing that happened yesterday? What was the thing that was most fun for you? What was it? And I imagine for a lot of you, it might have been something that you planned. Maybe you had a birthday party that you knew you were going to. Maybe you were going someplace with mom or with dad or with grandma or with grandpa or with friends, and you knew you were going to do that and how much fun that was going to be. And I bet you for some of you, the best thing that happened yesterday wasn't something you knew was going to happen at all. Maybe you're out doing something and you saw a friend you hadn't seen for a long time, or all of a sudden someone showed up and took you out to a great lunch that you didn't even know was going to happen. Those are the surprises of life. And we get to enjoy those surprises all the time. And God really loves for us to be surprised. So kids, will you join me in a little story about surprise this morning? Here's the story. The story starts with this priest, this minister, whose name was Nicodemus. And he wanted to visit Jesus. He heard all about this amazing man and all the things he was doing. And Nicodemus was he was a member of what's called the clergy. He was a minister, he was a priest. He was a member of a certain group of people who were there to kind of remind people how to do things the exact right way. And I would use the word exact, like he believed there was an exact right way to do things. And here's Jesus, and Jesus seems to be kind of changing things a little bit, talking about allowing God to surprise you. So kids, do this a little bit with me. So Nicodemus, kind of sneaks up at night, and think of that, kids. Maybe you can even do that with him. He sneaks up at night, comes to Jesus's window and goes, "Hey, Jesus, I want to talk to you a few minutes about what you're talking about. I want to know more." And that's because he was afraid that the other priests, the other ministers would see him doing it, which is kind of funny. So he kind of knew Jesus was saying something. So he sneaks up, he asks him, Jesus comes out, Jesus talks to him at night. And this is how Jesus describes to him the way God works. And I love this line, folks. For the parents who are watching along, this is from John chapter 3. The wind blows wherever it pleases, Jesus says. You hear it sound. Kids, maybe you can do this. Like you hear it sound. Maybe you can hear it with me. You hear it sound, but you cannot tell where it comes from or where it's going. So it is with everyone born of the Spirit. And that word there is interesting because the word Spirit is the same word as wind. So literally you could say right there, so it is with everyone born of the wind. Kids, that idea of the wind, what a beautiful way Jesus is trying to describe it. So you think of the wind, and maybe you can just make with your hands, the movement of the wind. And Jesus is saying, yeah, it's just like the movement of the wind. It's just like the movement of the wind. That's the way God works. And it's going to be hard to see all the time. Like I'm looking outside right now, and I can't see the wind. But I can sure as heck, if I'm outside, I can feel it. I can feel it moving through me. I'm not sure exactly where it came from. I'm not exactly sure where it's going to, but I can definitely feel the wind. And that's why we have to understand about the God of surprises. That God's going to show up a lot of the time just like the wind, with this smiling way that just shows up where we get to be surprised. I was thinking of this example, kids. Like a lot of the time with life, we have our frame. We have the way we think life is going to work. We have a frame. So we go somewhere with mom or with dad and we have a frame and we think like, oh, I absolutely don't like that. No matter what, I never want to go. So we have a frame and the frame says, don't want to do that. And I think what Jesus is saying here is saying like, look, well, really what you have to do is you have to put down the frame. You have to put down the frame so that I can surprise you, because there's always things that are surprising out there in life. There always are things that are like, wow, I didn't know that would be so much fun. Or I didn't know I'd get to meet that person. And sometimes, kids, I know like life's a little bit difficult. Last week I was at the dentist office. No fun. But can we find surprises even there at places like the dentist? We sure can. If our dentist is really nice, if my dentist is really nice, we had a wonderful little visit as part of that appointment. See, that's where kids, we have what our frame is, and we need to actually shift the frame and put it down so that the God of surprises can surprise us, so that God can move just like the wind through our lives. So that's what to think about, kids, today and in this week ahead. Be a little bit curious. Take a look and be a little bit open, even to those things that, like, oh, I don't like that at all. Maybe just take that frame, put it aside for a minute, and let God surprise you. I mean, that's what I think Jesus is telling Nicodemus. Nicodemus sneaks in at night, knocks on the window. Jesus comes out to speak to him, and Jesus essentially is saying, Nicodemus, my friend, learn to be surprised. So that's my thought for today, kids. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to do a little prayer with you, and then a little blessing, and then wish you a great weekend. So a little prayer. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you and bring you peace and bring you home. Amen. All right, kids, wishing you a great week, and maybe a week filled with a bunch of